Okay, shall we start? Hope that you all can hear me. Okay, we have discussed the rest part of the process accounting. Uh, Rest part of the process accounting. That is, we have already discussed the basic components of process accounting without having opening and closing WIP. Now, what we will do is we will move on to the second scenario. Second scenario means process costing when work in progress exceeds. So thereby today what we are focusing on scenario number 2 and scenario number 3. Okay. Process costing when work in progress exists. Work in progress, incomplete units. Work in progress means in the sense incomplete, but I can say it's partly completed. Possibly to have partly completed products both at the beginning of the period and end of the period in a particular production process. When you take any process, you will have WIP beginning and WIP closing. You can remember under financial accounting when you prepare the manufacturing account. So under the manufacturing account, you may talk about the WIP beginning and WIP closing. The concept of equivalent unit is very important. Now we are in today's lecture, the second part of the lecture, the second scenario, we are introducing a new concept called equivalent unit. So equivalent units is very important when partly completed units are existed in the production process. It is the number of completed units of an item that a company could theoretically have produced. That is the number of items theoretically. Maybe you might have 10, 20 work in progress items. Given the amount of direct material labor, manufacturing overhead costs incurred during the period for the items not yet completed. The fully completed units and the partially completed units are expressed in terms of fully completed units. Fully completed units and partially completed units are expressed in terms of full completed units. Equivalent units calculation is a mathematical process which involves in the process of costing. They are not really physical units. You have to remember when you say equivalent units, it's not a kind of equivalent physical units. It's a mathematical calculations, right? I think you can understand the meaning of equivalent units based on this. Now you see, first paragraph, the 4 cameras, this is the accounting period. This line shows the accounting period. Okay, this line shows the accounting period. This is the accounting period. So this accounting period, I don't think that you have all the items basically, completed. Here, you see, here all the cameras completed. There is no WIP. Whatever the period you focus, no WIP, all the cameras completed. But if you go to this one, this diagram, say January month, this is the period ending, you see that partly completed camera is there. So this camera, what is in red, is completed in end of the January and beginning of the February. So when you talk about the end of the January, there you see 1 unit of working progress. But 1 unit of work in progress means 1 camera. But we don't know the amount of resources consumed to partly produce this particular camera. So what we have to do is we can consider this part as equivalent units. So thereby, it's not a 1 unit, 1 camera. So thereby mathematically, we will convert how much resources in terms of raw material, how much resources or how many resources, the quantity of resources you consume product camera this particular WIP in terms of labor, in terms of material, in terms of. So you see that the February beginning, they had in the other part, other resources, then only completed a camera you will get. I think you can understand similar pattern in February also. The fundamental question is here is, suppose February month is 40,000 cost, and very simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cameras really produced, completed. All cameras are in one standard, equal amount of resources consumed. So thereby, simple average, the average cost per unit can be calculated. Very simple. But here, if even though 6 cameras you focus, one opening and one closing WIP, but how can you divide this by 8? Not possible, because even though camera number 1, this camera and this and this and this, all these completed cameras have consumed total amount of resources required for the particular camera, even material, labor, whatever the perspective, material perspective, you know, from the angle of material, from the angle of labor, from the angle of other overheads, from all these aspects, they have complete those really cameras have been consumed all the particular resources. But these 2 camera is exceptional. So you need to think about equivalent units. Equivalent unit is not equal to the physical, but it's a kind of mathematical calculations. I hope that it's clear. It's clear for you or what I explained. Shall we move on to the next slide? Okay, equivalent units, you see. 2 1/2 completed products are equivalent to 1 completed units. So you see, here you completed half and here you complete half. So that is equal to, you see, one particular unit, not the 2 units, 1 glass. 2 units, 800 units, 70% completed are equivalent to 560 complete units. So how do you see? 800's, 800 units, if completed 70%, so you can calculate basically 8,000 units completed, 8,000 WIP, 70% completed. Then you multiply it by 70%, right? So what you get is the equivalent units. 5,600 is the equivalent units. Are you clear? Okay. So thereby, it's a mathematical way of calculating equivalent units. Cost per equivalent unit is cost for the period divided by equivalent units for the periods. Another formula. Okay. We will look at this question now to understand what it is. Process closing when WIP exceeds. When process costing when WIP exceeds. JPLC produced product X, which is passing through 2 production processes at the end of April 2020. The first process produced 800 units of fully completed units. So thereby you see that completed units, right? We can say completed units in all the, from all the perspective, from all the resources, they have completed 8,000 units. 8,000 units. But at the end of the particular period, April, you have closing WIP. Closing WIP. WIP means work in progress. 2,000. Okay. Now you can't say from resource consumption perspective. You can't say resource consumption perspective. These 2 items really, you see, I'm just adding just to convenience you. This particular, you see, you can't say it is the total 10,000 units. You can say, but it's meaningless for process costing purposes. You see, here you have completed 100%. That means 100% resources consumed. But for the partially completed, only 50 units completed. So thereby 50%. 50% of all the resources consumed. So thereby, what you have to do is you take 100%, here 8,000, but here you take only, not the 100, here you take only 50%, that is 1,000. Altogether, 9,000 units completed. 9,000. Right? And so end up with the cost. You can say total equivalent is 9,000. Cost incurred as per given in the question, cost incurred 180,000. Okay, 180,000. So thereby your 180,000 divided by this 9,000 is 20 rupees. Thereby cost per unit is 20 rupees. So if you want to value these units, now you can value as output really this into 20 rupees into 8,000 and 20 rupees into 1,000. That's how calculate the total equivalent production units. Equivalent production units are this. That is the answer for the first part. And calculate the cost per unit and show the cost distribution between fully completed and partly completed. So thereby finished goods, when you value the finished goods, right? So it is about basically 8,000 units, right? Multiplied by, 20 rupees, that is 160,000. WIP, closing WIP would be really 1,000 rupees, right? Into 20 rupees, that is basically 20,000, no? Right. So that is how total 180 is distributed among WIP and the finished goods. Is it clear? Right. Okay. That's the answer here, I think. Same thing what I did. Okay, shall you go to the next question? 5.7. Next step. Other important concepts. So now you can understand the meaning of equivalent units. Second point is element cost with different degrees of completion. For a given inventory WI, not all the cost elements may have reached the same degree of completion. Just read the example. Material may be added at the start of the process and are thus fully complete, whereas labor and manufacturing overheads may be added uniformly throughout the process. Hence, the end WIP may consist of material that are 100% complete and conversion costs that are only partially complete. So in the case of separate equivalent production, calculation must be made for each element of direct material, direct labor, and production overheads. What I want to communicate to you is that, so you need to understand this point very clearly. Suppose this is the process, right? The process. Here you start the process and here you finish the process. So this is the beginning. When I put a line here, I would say this is 50% completed. Say 100 meters, 50 meters complete. Likewise, so you can talk about this particular timeline, start and finish timeline. When you do the process costing with WIP, what is important is at which point these material are being added. So there are basically two type of material, as you permit, two type of inputs: direct material, direct labor, and you have the production overheads. These are the two elements of cost. But even direct material may have material 1 and material 2, material 3 even. Even direct labor may have 1, 2, 3. For example, 100% trained employees, trained employees, untrained employees, likewise. So you might have different kind of cost element, but basically we have direct material, direct labor, and production. What is important is at which point you introduce this particular resources. Suppose you introduce all the resources 100% at the starting point, then whatever the things you talk about WIP 100% completed, right? That's why here in this case, material may be added as a starter. If suppose you are producing, you are a furniture manufacturing company, you prepare tables. When you prepare the tables, of course, you will add the material at the beginning. Lee dana mula. When you take the WIP at whatever the stage in your timeline, material wise, the wood wise, 100% completed. But direct labor, carpenter, polishing, cleaning, lot of things are in, but that polishing is taken place not at the beginning. Polishing will be taken at this stage. So thereby, when you are here, not yet direct labor is with regard the the polish material is not being added, and labor related to polishing is not being added. Production overheads also same. So thereby, what is important is where you add this particular research, this particular element of cost, and also at which point, what is the degree of completion of the particular WIP, whether it is 50%, 60%, or 90%, 10%, 40%, and what points at which point. So really these particular different resources or element of cost being added. That is very important when you do the process costing. I think this slide is about just to explain that matter. Other important previous process costs arise when a product goes through several production processes. Suppose A, B, there are two processes. So you might have previous processes cost, not treated as WIP because it is fully completed in the preceding process. So you don't consider it as WIP. So you consider it as fully completed in the previous proceeding. Thus, only partly completed items in relation to a particular production process are considered as WIP. So you consider WIP as what is started in this period. Output started during the period is partially completed at the end of the period. Need to consider following when calculating the cost of output. So we are talking about the WIP closing, not the opening here. No opening, but closing. Calculation equivalent units, elements of cost with different degree of completion, previous cost processes, previous process cost. So that's very important. Shall we go to the example just to understand this? Read. The Plona Hoina company manufactures a product that passes through two processes. The following information related to processes, process A and process B. Opening WI is not there because our title is not, we are talking about this particular example without opening. Unit introduced, unit completed, process finished goods inventory, closing WIP, cost of production transferred, material cost added, and a conversion cost. So material are added at the start of the process A and at the end of the process B. Conversion costs are added uniformly throughout. Uniformly means සමානව 10% සම්පූර්ණ 10%යි. 120 සම්පූර්ණ 120යි. That's the meaning of uniformly. Throughout the process, throughout the timeline, that's been incurred. The closing WIP estimated to be 50% completed for both processes. So both processes closing WIP would we consider 50% complete. Calculate the cost per unit of both process A and B. Prepare the process account. So we will just try to understand this. We will prepare an equivalent unit statement calculation schedule. We call it equivalent unit statement calculation schedule. You need to prepare a particular schedule with regard to the equivalent units. Okay. So thereby we will have basically, 3-4 column equivalent unit. We call it equivalent unit statement, right? Equivalent unit statement. We are preparing such a statement. Equivalent unit statement. Okay. Then we start with the total cost, TC. Total cost, right? So we may find out completed units, right? You may find out completed units, and you might find out another column for WIP equivalent, EQU that. Then you get the total equivalent. Okay, total equivalent, and you get the cost per unit. Cost per unit. Are you clear? So the headings are clear. I took total cost. I will take completed units. I take WIP equivalent, another column, and total equivalent and cost per unit. So from this column, I put all the things what is being inserted. You have the material. I put direct material and conversion cost. Those are the cost, two items in the question for the this is equivalent statement, not for B but for A process. You have to remember that also. Okay. Then I can prepare the equivalent unit statement for the B also. No problem. Then that is very easy for me. Okay. I will have the equivalent unit statement for the process, not A, for the process B. For the process B, right? And for the process B, of course, it is, you have the previous process cost. Previous process cost. Because from the process A, you get something. Okay. I will same thing, total cost, completed units, WIP equivalent, total equivalent, cost per units. See the direct material as per the question, it is 2,100, 210,000, 210,000 and 144,000 with regard to the conversion cost. Completed units, of course, as per the question, it says that unit introduced into the process so much, it's okay, that is the input. Completed units, you say 10,000. Here it is 10,000. So 10,000 is completed not only from raw material perspective, direct material perspective, but also from conversion. That's why we call it completion units. But you see that material are added at the starting point of the process A. For the process A, material is basically added at the beginning. So thereby the WIP with regard to the process A is 4,000, 100%. And for the process A, WIP equivalent or the closing WIP, even though it is 4,000 units, it says 50% completed. So thereby we take 50%, that is 2,000. Is it clear? Total equivalents would be then 14,000, right? And here it would be 12,000. Is it clear? So column, these two columns, we get the total. Cost per unit would be, what is the cost given in this column divide by the total total equivalent units. That is 15 rupees. Here, of course, same thing. Total cost divided by 12,000, 12 rupees. Okay. I will do it. Wait. What you are telling me is that the Excel sheet you can't see. Okay. We will do the what we can do. I will stop sharing again and I will I will make it full screen sharing. Okay. And now I share the this one is the how can I say now another way. පුද කරන්න Excel sheet එක පේන්නේ නැතුළු බලන්න කරන්න. Now tell me, can you see both? Are you? Hello? Can you help me now? Oh no. That day I did, how I did it was only the question appear. Yes. What it was okay, we will do this way. For the time being, because it takes time. So you may have the question. What I will do is I will just copy the question to the Excel sheet. I can do it, but it will take little time to, just to understand the problem first. Anyway, I will. And can you see now? Hello? Just tell me whether you can see it now. Okay. Okay, no, ne? Right. So what I will do is I will just I will just copy the question here. Oh my God. What happened? Okay, Excel එක දීලා තියෙන්නේ. I hope that you all can can you see the Excel sheet now? Yes, I do. Can you see both now? Can you see both now? Excel and the PowerPoint presentation. Only the Excel. Okay. Ari, we will focus on the Excel, but I hope that you will have the question with you for the time being. I will put the Excel with you, and I can, that way we will do. Anyway, it takes time, but I have to finish it today. That's what I am in a hurry. Okay. Equivalent unit statement A. Of course, I hope that you all can see the Excel sheet, right? I will make it a little bit larger. Okay. Then, of course, I hope that, yeah, you all can see the screen, the Excel sheet, as you said. And in the question, the total cost of direct material and total cost of conversion is given. Completed units also given. WIP equivalent, I took 4,000 because materials are entered at the beginning of the period. Since beginning, material wise 100% completed. But conversion cost, it says uniformly. එතකොට 150ක් සම්පූර්ණ වෙච්ච නිසා අර WIP තොගෙන් units වලින් physical units වලින් 150ක් ගත්තාම 2000. What I did was total equivalent unit cost. Total equivalent unit cost means these two columns total. The completed units and the, what do you call this particular equivalent units, 4,000, 14,000 and 12,000, you know. What I did was this 14,000 and 210,000. 210,000 divided by 14,000, 114,000 divided by 12,000. That is the unit cost. So thereby very easy for you to calculate the cost finished goods. Finished goods 10,000, right? 10,000 into 15 rupees. 10,000 into 15 rupees, so you get 150. It's clear. And then the WIP this is finished goods, huh? WIP calculation, you can't do it straightforward. WIP direct material is the first part. Of course, direct material would be what do you call? Direct material would be 150,000 here, no? It was 150,000. Okay. Direct material would be basically, you know, 4,000 into 20 rupees. No, 15 rupees. Right? But with regard to the conversion cost, CC, with regard to the CC, conversion cost, it's not the 4,000 story. That is, of course, you know, it is something, you know, 2,000 into 2,000 into, right? 2,000 into, hello? Okay, Anna. Key 5, 3 to 5. Okay. Okay. Right, thank you. That is multiplied by 2,000 into 12 rupees. Okay. That is 12 rupees, not the 12 cents, no? 12 rupees. Right? Okay. That is, of course, basically, you see, that is, you know, 240. So thereby altogether, your closing WIP would be here 84,000. That is 84,000. Is it clear? Okay. So thereby you get the total of these two here. Right. So if you want, I can prepare the process account. Process account really, you have the debit, as I told you, and you have the credit. Okay. You have the credit. So you have direct material. Direct material, of course, here you are putting 10,000. How much you are putting direct material? Unit introduced to the process 14,000. 14,000. So thereby here it is 210,000 cost, and conversion cost CC. CC is of course how much? 144,000. That is given in the question. So you entered those two. And with regard to the credits, you see the finished goods, you according to question 10,000, and WIP closing carried forward, WIP is 4,000. So that is how your total input columns tally in with 14,000. Okay, that is tally with the 14,000. Unit columns, can you remember the unit columns what I discussed in the first day? Here units, and here also units, here also units, and our fundamental question is to value this. What is the value? Of course, for this and for the other one, valuation. So to make it value, to value your inventory, what I think you can remember, this is linked with the financial reporting. Without having the closing stock value, you can't prepare the balance sheet. So thereby, in this particular business, process A has 10,000 of finished goods and 4,000 of WIP. How we are going to value? So to value it, since it involves WIP, you have to prepare the equivalent unit statements and calculate the cost per unit. I have calculated. So thereby you see my value here 150,000, and this value, and the other value is very clear. It is 84,000. So account should be tally with these two. This is really, 3. Is it 3? Is it correct? I'm sorry. I did a small mistake here. So I have to take the total cost also, no? I'm sorry. I did a small mistake here. Total cost is 27. With regard to the DM and DC, total cost is 27. So thereby, what we have to do is this particular 10,000, right, should multiply it not by 12, but by 27, because it's from the total, cost, right? Total unit cost. So thereby it's 270. Here it has to be not 150. It has to be 270,000, right? So with this, I think you will agree with me that column is 3,240. Here also you will see it's again there's a problem, I think. Here the value is not value is 144, no? Right. So thereby here it has to be, this has to be 5, not the 2. Is it clear? So thereby here the total is 35400. Okay. That's how the process account. This is the process account. And I would like to talk about the process 2 also. That's why you see here in this question, 270,000 from the process A. So yeah, our calculation here also same. So thereby total cost 270,000 from the previous process. We are talking about the process B, equivalent unit statement. Direct material, it's given 108. Okay, and also 171 is the conversion cost, right? So we will look at the completed units. Here the completed unit, how much your completed unit 9,000 here. So I think from all the aspects, even material, whatever the this thing, your completion unit is 100%. Okay. Now WIP equal and is 50%. Unit WIP is 1000 units. 50% means the 500. Here 500. Direct materials added at the start of the process A, at the end of the process B. So that you have to understand. You have to remember WIP from the previous process cost. Remember 100% completed because it's from the previous process. Material not being added yet, even though it is in the 50%. If I'm explaining it again, in this process, you see, this is the process B, not the A. Process A, starting, finish. So you insert the previous process, WIP component is 100% complete because it's from the previous. But direct material, with regard to the direct material, that is been insert not in the starting point, but in the finish. This point again, but your conversion WIP completed only 50%. So thereby material is not being added, right? Since material is not being added, the direct material wise resource consumption is how much? 0. That's what I want to communicate. Here it's 0. But conversion cost wise, it is 50%, so thereby 500. Right? Total is, of course, you get the total of both these 1000. Okay. And here it is 9,000 total. And here it is 9,500. So you can calculate the total cost per unit. So what you do is the total cost divided by the total equivalent units, you get the total cost. So similar way, you divide all the columns you get, and the total would be basically these 3 items. Total cost would be 57, right? So you can do the valuation. Valuation is important. You can do the finished goods valuation. How much finished goods? 9,000, right? 9,000. I will just tell you how to calculate. 9,000 into 57. No, 57 total cost. Okay. So you can do it the same way. What I do is 57 here, right? And equal 50. This is equal. So 530. The WIP closing value is, right? Closing value is, so you can't calculate it, straightforward. So you have the previous process, right? And you have the direct material, and you have the conversion cost element, conversion cost, CC. But with regard to the previous process, it's 1,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees into 27, of course, that's correct. And here it is direct material, value is 0, thereby no value, right? And with regard to this closing WIP, 500 into 18 rupees. So that is how your values coming here, right? So what you can do is you just get the values here. Here it has to be 27, 27. No? All right, here it is the value. And also here, the value is basically these two. So altogether, how much? Value is basically these, no, I'm sorry, these two, 365, 36,500 is the value. So you can prepare the process account, you can put the debit column, and here you can put the credit column. Okay, here previous process, right? Previous cost. How much you get from the previous? Of course, you get 10,000 units, and the cost is 270,000. Okay, then you have the raw material. Raw material, of course, as per the question, raw material introduced 108. Okay, 108. And conversion cost, as per the question, conversion cost is 171. 171. Okay, 171. And you can take the finished goods here from the process B. As per the question, process B, finished good is 9,000. Value is 513. Value is 513. We have done the valuation. 513. Okay, 513. And of course, WIP, you can take the WIP is 1,000, and value is 36,500. There's a කොහෙරි වැරද්දක් වෙලා තියෙන බලන්න ඕන වෙන්න බෑ 36500 වෙන්න බෑ 18න් වැඩි කරන්න ඕන 500 ඒක වැඩි කරලා 19. Yes, අපේ අතින් වැරදිලා, small mistake, that's all. So it's 9,000 and 36,000. That's correct. So thereby your total cost would be, this column is the debit column, and this is the total column of credit. Mathematically it has to be tallied, otherwise our question is wrong. So that is the process costing. Process costing and process account for B. Process account B. Process account B. Is it clear? Okay, shall we go to the next one? Then I will be sharing you the answer also with you, right? Like our Excel, this is our sheet, and so the process accounts, what we did for this question. And so I hope that what we did was this, the equivalent unit statement analysis. This is the process A1. Then process B is same. We got 57, you can remember. 57. I think there is a small mistake here, the equivalent units, but we got the same answer. Okay, right. Shall we go to the next one? Process costing with problem when both opening and WIP exceeds. That is another complicated area where both opening and closing WIP. So when there is such situation, we may talk about two types of costing method or pricing method. That is WAC, weighted average cost method, and the first in first out method. So far what we did, weighted average. Whatever the calculation so far what we did, even previous one, we did WAC method, weighted average. So new concept is first in first out. I will explain you. So thereby remember, if there is no opening WIP in a question, if there is no opening WIP in a question, FIFO method is no longer applicable. FIFO method is no longer applicable. FIFO method is applicable where you get the opening WIP. Where you get the opening WIP. Remember, need to consider the following when calculating cost of calculate the equivalent units, element of cost different previous process cost. Both I think similar matters to be considered under this 2.2 scenario also. Right. Shall we go to a weighted average methods? Weighted average method means you just take the equivalent unit completed and transferred out of the process and equivalent units ending work in WIP. So that's very simple. What I'm trying to say you is that if you want to calculate the weighted average method, you only consider completed units and the closing WIP. That's all. Closing WIP equivalent units. Only two matters. I think previous question A and B, we did the same way. We worry about the completed units and the closing WIP equivalent units. Okay, here it is the weighted average method. WP as cost, process B, whatever, and also current period cost. We put all the costs together, total manufacturing cost, and we take the completed unit separately and end in WIP. That's all weighted average. We put all the costs together, just divide. Okay. Okay. But weighted first in first out method, when you say first in first out, we assume that whatever the items which has not already completed at the beginning of the period will be first completed. Then we will talk about the closing WIP. Right? So if I am going back to your previous slides, just to explain FIFO method. Just to explain the FIFO method, previous one, we had a camera story. I'm here. Remember, in FIFO, what we do is, suppose February month. In the February month, you have the opening WIP and you have the closing WIP. Are you clear? But in January month, you have only the closing WIP. In March, you have only the opening WIP. But February, you have both opening and closing WIP. When you follow the FIFO method, you see here camera, you completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is true. You completed 7 camera. Even though you completed 7 camera, we assume that first camera what we are going to complete is this, what is in red. Red එකේ එතකොට මොකක්ද තත්ත්වය? Red එකේ 150ක් 160ක් විතර ඉවර වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. කවදාද? ජනවාරි මාසේ අගට. ඒතර FIFO method එකේදී අපි මොකද උපකල්පනය කරන්නේ? ඉස්සෙල්ලම complete කරන්නේ what was at the beginning of the WIP. ඒතර අපි මේ කර්මාශාලාවේ පෙබරවාරි වල ඉස්සෙල්ලම වැඩ පටන් ගන්නෙ මෙන්න මේ රතු පාට කැමරායි ඉතිරි කොටස කරා. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි අපි ඇත්තටම ඉතිරිල එතකොට මම මේ කියන්නේ අපි කැමරා 1යි 2යි 3යි 4යි 5යි 6ක් හැදුවට ඇත්තටම රිසෝස් කන්සියුම් කරලා තියෙන 6කටද 6කට අඩුවට. අන්න ඒක තමයි FIFO කියලා කියන්නේ. දැන් අපි දන්නවා 6ක් හැදුවට ඇත්තටම කලින් process එකෙන් නිම වෙච්ච කැමරාවකුත් අපි ගාව තිබ්බ වැඩ පටන් ගන්නවා. ඒතර මේ මාසේ නැත්තම් පෙබරවාරි මාසේ වැඩ අපි කරලා තියෙන්නේ ඇත්තටම කැමරා 5කුයි තව පොඩි වැඩකුයි. හරිනේ? ඊට අමතරව අපි අලුත් කැමරාවක වැඩ පටන් අරන් තියෙනවා. We have started a new camera. But we were unable to complete, maybe 75% complete. Are you clear? So that is the logic under the FIFO. Weighted average, of course, you forget about this. You forget about this. You worry about this only, weighted average. Okay. Then we will take the scenario. Any question? Yes. We will take this question. The Brown company has two process X and Y. Material is introduced at the start process X. Material introduced at the starting point X. And additional material is added to the process Y when the process is 70% complete. 70% complete කරාම තමයි add කරන්නේ. conversion costs are applied uniformly throughout the process. If 10% complete, 10% completed conversion cost. If 20% completed, 20% complete introduced in terms of conversion cost. The completed units of process Xi immediately transferred to the process Y, and the completed production process Y is transferred to finished goods inventory. Opening WIP 6,000, 60% converted, consisting of material 72,000 and conversion cost of 45,900. 20 units of 2,000 units of 80% converted, consisting previous process cost 91,000 and material 2,000, conversion cost 38,400. You should have the answer this question. Unit started during the period 16,000, 18,000, closing the working progress 4,000 and 8,000, material cost added so much, conversion cost so much, and here so much. So what is the question? Calculate the cost per unit for both X and Y based on WACC and the FIFO and prepare the process record. So this is what this is a basic answer for this. Of course, you see that in this answer there are two items which is very important. Opening WIP and current cost, total cost, completed units, equivalent WIP, total WIP. So when you prepare under WACC method, right? Under WACC methods, you see that we take the total in terms of, you know, total cost. Total cost. Okay. So we will go to our. So we will do the calculation, even though I just show you the answer. You can do is yes, Excel sheet එක ගන්න ඕන. මම හිතනවා Excel sheet එක පෙනේ කියලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට. යාළු sheet එකක් ගත්තොත් කවන්නේ. Can you see my Excel sheet now? Just tell me whether you can see the Excel sheet. No, okay. Then stop sharing. Then screen share it. Excel sheet. Right. I hope that you all can see the Excel sheet now. Okay. Oof. Okay. So I hope that you all can see the Excel sheet now. So I'm doing now. Remember, I'm doing for the, and I'm just focusing on the a question what we discuss now. I'm focusing the question what we focus now. I hope that you all got the what do you call this manual also. I'm just taking the manual and see the question because I have a small problem now in looking at the question. Normal direct cost chapter 5 something now. Total revenue. Oh, here. So if you have the chapter, you have to take the what do you call this particular job costing process. I think yes, process A. Yes, I think I'm focusing on example number 5.9. Example number 5.9. No, not 5.9. Is it? No, 5.8. Okay. Just look at the same scenario what we did earlier. We had a previous process. No, sorry, this one. I'm taking this equivalent unit statement, this one. We had direct material, CC, total cost column, completed units, WIP, total equivalent, cost per unit. So now we have to mention the method. Remember, now we are discussing the WAC method. Okay. So under WAC method, what we have to do is we have basically the total column, we need one additional one. You see, we need one, right? Two. That is what we need. The previous one also you can remember. Here the same question. So we were focusing on two columns, as I told you, total cost, current cost, and WIP, opening WIP. So I just want to highlight that matter with you. So what I'm going to do here is I am now adding two columns, right? Just for understanding, this is the opening WIP cost in open, and this is the current cost incurred in this period, and now total cost. Okay, so if you look at the example, opening WIP, you have 6,000 unit convert costing material, converted costing for material 72 and conversion. So the method the right here you have 45,900. 45,900. And current cost given in the question, of course, 16,000 units, 14,000 completed, 192,000, 192,000, and also, I'm sorry, opening WIP is this, no? This is the opening WIP cost. Is it clear? Yes. The current cost is with regard to the raw material, so much. With regard to the conversion cost, 225. Okay, so you can calculate the total cost. Total cost column, of course, you can complete. Just how do you take? Just take the total of these two columns, no? That is what. So that is the total cost. Okay. And with regard to the completed units, look at the completed units as per the question. How much completed process X, of course, not the A now. You have to remember this is process X. process X. Units started during the period, closing WIP, material added, unit transferred, units during this period, units started during the period, closing WIP. In the question, closing material is not given, completed unit is not given. So thereby, basically, you can prepare the process account, process X, right? And you can have the debit column, and you can have the credit column, and you can have the input columns. So you see, you can put raw material. You have the opening WIP, opening WIP, opening WIP. How much? How much? Opening WIP as per the question, it is 6,000. And you can see using the starting raw material. Raw material is of course 16,000, right? 16,000, and you can go to the credit side. Yes, credit side. Finished goods not given. Finished goods not given. You can take the WIP closing. Neither. WIP closing. How much? WIP closing. How much? As per the question, WIP closing is 4,000 units. So since there are no, opening and since there are opening and closing, we entered, but there is no abnormal, normal lost information. So what we can do is basically just take the total of this, that is 22,000. And here also you put the 22,000, and the balance would be 18,000 is the completed units. That's how you find out. Okay. 18,000 is the completed units in the process costing account. X. Okay. So since the question has not mentioned the completed units, what we did was we reconciled with the process account. We call it quantity reconciliation. We took the opening WIP and what is introduced during the period. These are units. Units columns can be really reconciled always. Unit columns, you have to add up units, right? So what we did was, what is in red, we find out. Once we entered all what is in red, we got it. So thereby completed units, no problem, 18,000. Here 18,000. Whatever the perspective. But equivalent closing W, it says that 4,000, right? 4,000. Just look at which point materials are introduced. Okay. Yeah. It says that material is introduced at the start of the process. X. So thereby, material wise 100% completed closing WI. That is 4,000. But here it says that the degree of completion from other conversion cost perspective is how much? 75%. So thereby 75% means 3,000. So you can get the total of total equivalents, right? Total equivalent totals 22,000 and so much. So what you can do is you can now divide the total column right? Total column by the respective equivalent units. This divide by 22,000. Okay. And this divide by, this means this particular total cost, conversion cost divide by 21,000. So you get 12.9. So that is the finished goods story. Now you can value the finished goods. How you are going to value the finished goods? Finished good is 18,000, right? So you can value the finished goods. Fish not 10,000. This is the earlier question figures. 18,000, right? Multiplied by 20.2, 24.9. 24.9. That is the finished goods value. And also you can value the WIP with regard to the direct material, of course, 4,000, but 12 rupees, right? 12 rupees. And also you can value the conversion cost perspective, not 2,000, it is 3,000, right? 3,000, and it is 12.9, right? That's all. So altogether, you can get the total of these two, right? Total of these two is the value of the closing stock, right? 86,700. So you can put the values here. Now the fundamental question is, what is the value here, right? What is the value here and what is the value here? So we found the values for these. 18,000 we put 44.4, sorry, 448,200. And here we put the value we got, that is 86,700. 86,700. Once we put this data, of course, that what is the value here? We have to put that in input value, opening WIP value and the raw material. And also there should be a conversion cost, no? Conversion cost also should be there. That shall we put CC, conversion cost? What is the value here? So you have to find out the opening WIP value. 72 minus plus 45,900, right? 72,000 72,000 plus 45,900. That is the opening value. 72, no, not the 77,000. Okay, plus 45,000. 45,900, right? Then of course you can check the answer by just getting the total of these two. Yeah, that's correct. Here also you can get, if you want the total, all then you can get the total. And the raw material, of course, 192,000. Raw material, of course, 192,000. And current cost with regard to this particular process is 225,000, right? So you can get the total, of course, to here total. You can get it, no problem. And you just get it. Here total also you can get it, no problem. And here you can get it. So same total you have to get it otherwise. So process costing, process cost, I have prepared the process cost account as well. So you can see the figures. You can see the figures. Process cost units. These are the units. These are the units, credit side. And these are the cost inputs for the process. And these are evaluations based on equivalent unit statements, what is prepared just now. Okay. Is it clear? Shall we go to the process B now? I will be using the same. Before that, I will show you just the answer, final answer, just to get the understanding. Final answer under, you see, okay. You see same format, same format we are going to use, but we will use one more thing from the previous process cost. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. Previous process account. Okay. Previous process account. I'm using the Excel sheet again. Okay. What I will do is, this is equivalent unit statement, not B, Y. I'm using the Y. Okay. Y. So here you have the, what do you call, WIP, opening WIP. Here you have the current cost. Here you have the total. But in addition to that, what is required is I think I had to, I did a small mistake. Yeah. Okay. I put the opening WIP, delete karnawata podi prashnayak wuna. Opening WIP. Then current cost. I am just preparing the this particular equivalent statement, not for X, but for Y. Previous process, in the sense, previous process means how much you transferred from this particular account. Actually, this finished goods will be transferred to really Y process, no? Not so you are just transferring that to the Y process. You have to remember that. So thereby you are getting 448,200. No? 448,200 from previous. Current cost. And just look at the opening WIP given the structure. Previous process 91,800. Previous process 91,800. And material 72,000. Material 72,000. No. Yeah. 90. From the previous process 91,000. Material 12,000. No. I'm sorry. 12,000 as per the question. Huh? And conversion cost 38,400. 38,400. That is the opening WIP cost. With regard to current cost, raw material is 60,000. You add really, and 259,000. 259,000 with regard to the conversion cost. So you can get the total of these total cost column. You can just complete by just getting the total, right? Okay. So that is the total. Then just look at the completed units. I think here also completed units not given. So thereby what you have to do is you have to prepare like here process account Y. process account Y. Process account, all right. Y, this is, sorry, this is Y. You may have the debit column, right? You may have the credit column, right? In addition to that, you have the units. You have the units. Okay. Here, you see that you have the WIP opening. WIP opening, how much? WIP opening is 200 units, 2000 units. Process Y, process not YX, no? From process X, how much you get? You get 18,000, right? 18,000, and so unit started also 18,000. So thereby you see that same thing, and you can get the total, no problem. And credit side, you can find out the WIP closing. WIP closing given in the question, how much? 8,000. 8,000 units WIP. Then the balance, of course, would be the finished goods. FG, how much? 20,000 and 12,000. Is it clear? So this 12,000 not given in the question, but we calculated based on debit credit principle and the balancing principle. 12,000. මේ ටික අපි පෙරෙව්වා. ඊට පස්සේ 8,000 දැම්ම balancing figure එක ගත්තා. Now, of course, you can put you can prepare the account, of course. Shall we come to this process account later on? We will just complete the WIP. So what I did was I took the opening WIP, you can remember, right? I took the current cost. I took previous process cost, which is given in the question with regard to the opening WIP. And this amount, of course, the amount transferred from the previous process, that is process X, and this 60,000 and this 259,000 given. So all these figures, except this red one given in the question, right? So what we did was we just took the total cost column by adding these two columns. Then completed units, of course, as per the question we calculated, completed units 12,000, right? So thereby completed units, all the sense, all the perspective in the even material wise, conversion cost, previous cost perspective completed. WIP closing is 8,000. We know from the previous process cost element, always even WIP closing 100% completed, right? Then the direct material. So where you add direct material? Why process? If you go to the question, and additional material is added to process Y when the process is 70% completed. Again, you have to understand this timeline. You know, you have the starting and finishing point. This is the starting and this is the finishing. And remember, the material is being added when 70% is completed. Just find out where is your work in progress. Work in progress is in 50% completed stage. Work in progress is somewhere here, not yet reached 70%. Here the 50%. So thereby, what is your conclusion? Material being added or not added? Now your work in progress is here, but you are adding raw material when 70% completed. So thereby, what I want to communicate to you is that with regard to the raw material, not yet being added. Direct material, not yet being added. So thereby, zero completion raw material wise. But as per the question, conversion cost is, uniformly applicable, then WIP closing 50% complete, one half means 50%. So thereby 2000, I'm sorry, 4000 WIP complete. So just you can take the total columns by just getting the total equivalents, the two columns, 20,000, and these are the totals. So you see, closing completed units 12,000, closing completed WIP with regard to the previous process 8,000, altogether 20,000. Here 12,000, here 12,000 plus 4,000, 16,000. So what you can do is now just get the average cost by dividing the relevant cost. So you take the total cost column, total cost divide by 20,000, this column. Total cost, same thing you can add, but what I'm trying to say here is you take the total cost column and divide by 20. You take the this 60 and divide by 12. It has to be 5 now. Oh, sorry, 72. 72 divide by 12, you get this one. And of course, you see that this one really divide by 4,000, you get that. Right? Now what you can do is you can value the closing inventory. So how you are going to closing inventory? Closing inventory is 12,000, right? What is the total cost here? So you can get the total cost also. Total cost 51,000 something. So thereby, instead of 9,000 finished goods, you value at here can me finish me gani. 12,000 12,000 වැඩි කරනවා කියන්ද 51යි ඉතර පොඩි ඩෙසිමල් ගානක් කියනවා 7 58යි 7යි 5. Okay, that is the value. So what you do is you copy this and get the value. Okay. Okay. මේකට සමාන එකක් ගාලා අපි වැලියු එක ගමු. 12000 වැඩි කරන 51.7 ගානේ. එතකොට නෝ 619.50. ඊළඟට raw material WIP and WIP valuation මෙතන එන්නේ 8,000, not the 1,000 rupees. අය අපිට ගාව WIP තියෙනවානේ previous cost එකෙන් 8,000 නේද? 8,000 වැඩි කරන එතන 27. ඒක හරි. නේද? මේක 8,000 කරාන හරි. එතන වෙනසක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඊට පස්සේ මෙතන වැලියුවක් කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ අපට. මෙතන 0 නේ තියෙන්නේ. එතන ඊළඟ එක 4,000, not the 5,500. මේ previous ගාන ඉලක්කන්නේ මම වෙනස් කරන්නේ. ඒක වැඩි කරන්න වෙනවා අපට නේද? ඒක අපි copy කරගමුකෝ ඉස්සෙල්ලා. මෙතනට copy කරනවා මම. එතකොට ඒක වැඩි කරන්න ඕන. ඒක copy කරනවා. Right here. එතකොට මම ඒක 4,000 සමාන දාලා right මේ 18 වෙනුවට හරි නේද? මෙන්න මේක sorry මේක ගන්නවා. right. එතකොට මේ දෙකේ එකතුව එනවා මට. Just we'll see how much it's getting. The Excel sheet වල හරි ප්‍රේසන් වෙනවනේ වැඩ කරනකොට පොඩ්ඩක් එහා මෙහා ගියක මම වැඩේ කරදෙනවා. හරි. එතකොට closing WIP value කරනකොට මෙච්චර එනවා. මෙන්න මේ දෙකේ එකතුව. right. එතකොට අපි ඒව දාන figures වලට. බලන්න දැන් මෙතෙන්ට කීයක් දාන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා WIP process and current cost. raw material CC නේ ඒවත් තියෙනවනේ දැන් මෙතන. දැන් ඔන්න process cost එක සම්පූර්ණ කරන්න. WIP value එක අපිට ගානේ දීලා තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ ටිකේ එකතුව WIP value කියලා කියන්නේ. නේද? එකතු කර ඉන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. මෙතන තියෙන value එකනේ WIP වල එකතුව. අර තියෙන එල එකතුව. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ 91800 ගානේ දීලා තියෙනවා. 12000 ගානේ දීලා තියෙනවා. 38400 ගානේ දීලා තියෙනවා value wise break up. එතන 142යි 200යි. 142යි 200යි. right. Then, of course, you take process X, of course, that is, taken from the previous process. That is there. Then raw material, I think 12,000. Neither raw material, no, not 12,000, 60,000. All right. And it's given in the question, and conversion cost 259,000. 259,000. Okay. So we did the valuation. 12,000 valuation was 619 බින්දුවයි 50 මම ඒක ටයිප් කරා මම ඒක වෙන විදිහකට ගන්නත් උනා මේ තියෙන වැලියු එක ඊළඟ මේ වැලියු එක 290යි 350 290යි 350 that is how the this thing when you take the total බලමු අපි total tally වෙනවද කියලා වැලියු වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් අපේ කොහේ හරි mistake එකක් right oh my god මේක මම දැන් total එක නෙමෙයි දාගන්න තියෙන්නේ formula එකක් නෙමෙයි copy වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඒක වෙන්නේ නැති right අපි බලමු ඒක දාලා okay right 20,000 just add and so you will end up with the answer so that is the process y okay so far what we did discuss was weighted average costing method. Weighted average costing method. This is process B. This is 9. Nothing to do with this this thing. Huh? Okay. So you see that when you do the weighted average costing method, we take the opening WIP and we take the current cost and we take the total column and we take the completed units, we take the closing WIP equivalent units, then total equivalent units, cost per unit calculated. Accordingly, we do the valuations. We do the valuation accordingly. This is the valuation part. Once you put the valuation, you can complete the credit side of your process account. This credit side of your process account. Okay. So I don't think that I have the time to discuss, FIFO method today. So we will have another sessions. If you have any question, I think I can answer. No problem. Okay, then shall we finish the lecture today? Thank you very much.